the indicated speed limits on those sections of the road where the speed cameras are installed. The speed cameras are fixed in zones with indicated speed limits of 40 kilometers per hour, 60 kilometers per hour, 80 kilometers per hour, and 110 kilometers per hour. The photographs taken by the speed cameras are transmitted to the Photographic Enforcement Device Unit, which processes the speeding offences. It is linked to the database of the National Land Transport Authority, from where particulars and ownership of the vehicles are obtained. Thereafter, photographic enforcement device notices are sent by post to the road traffic offenders for the payment of relevant fines for exceeding speed limit in breach of Section 124 of the Road Traffic Amendment Act of 2018. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed by the Commissioner of Police that since July 2019 to June 2020, 40,840 drivers have been booked by way of photographic enforcement device for exceeding speed limit. As regards the categorization of vehicles contravened, the database system kept at the PEDU has been designed to keep records of the registration number, date, time, and place of offense, as well as the speed. It also captures photographs of the vehicle found speeding. However, the system does not categorize vehicles in terms of their make and type.
During the period July 2019 to June 2020, the Photographic Enforcement Unit downloaded 10,008 images pertaining to speed violation by auto and motorcycles from speed cameras. And the number of images relating to auto and motorcycles amounts to 7,751, representing 77% of images that were rejected by the Photographic Enforcement Unit. And the main reason being no registration plate and registration plate obstructed. Therefore, can I ask the Honourable Prime Minister, what is being done to address this issue?
Honourable Prime Minister.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, sir, in fact, the fixed speed cameras, they are capable of capturing the speed offences by motorcycles. However, many offences that are committed by motorcycles are not being processed because of the difficulty in viewing the number plates of motorcycles in the photographs. I am informed that many number plates are not compliant in terms of the dimensions and fixing on the motorcycles as prescribed in the Road Traffic Construction and Use of Vehicles Regulations. Amendment was brought to the Road Traffic Construction and Use of Vehicles, Amendment number 2 Regulations, number 21, which came into force on 31st of March 2021. The regulations make provision for determining the dimensions of the registration plate and the size of the characters. The regulations also make provision for electric, auto and motorcycle to have a registration plate. Hence, the police now and the NLTA have been urged to undertake crackdown operations to ensure that the provisions of the law are being adhered to with respect to the dimensions of registration plate on motorcycles. Maybe I will also ask, I will request honorable members, to have a look also at the regulations that was in force before, because I know that the honorable member is referring to the comments that have been made by the Director of Audit. It was in the 9th schedule, in fact, regulation 58 and 59. This is what is mentioned in the report, and we can see in the 9th schedule the size and spacing of characters on registration plates. And my colleague, the Minister for Land Transport, came with amendments which are now contained in the Road Traffic Act regulations that have been made in 2021. So I will just ask the honourable member to compare, in fact, the different, what are the sizes that have been prescribed in those regulations. And then there is also the issue of how they affix the registration plate, because for the camera to be able to read the number, it has to be affixed in such a way that it is readable. That is why I mentioned in my reply that the police officers and the NLTA will now have to enforce those regulations.
Speaker, in fact, the regulations 58 and 59 were already here since 2010. But according to the Director of Audit remarks, is that the police and the NLTA were not enforcing these regulations. And to use the words of Director of Audit, the use of speed cameras to detect speed violation will be ineffective and images captured will be useless if these regulations are not enforced. So therefore, can I ask the Honourable Prime Minister to see to it that these existing regulations since 2010 are enforced?
Yes, as I have said, I can understand the comments that have been made by the Director of Audit, but I'm sure Honourable Member will appreciate that in fact, there were two problems. The first one was with regard to the dimension of the number on the number plate. Now that has been, there is a new regulation. It has to be in bigger characters, at spacing and so on. I won't go into the details of it, but now it is definitely more visible. The second issue was, where was the number plate fixed on the motorcycle? In many motorcycles, it was fixed on the side. Now you can imagine when the motorcycle is overspeeding, it will be impossible to capture the number plate because it is on the side, so you can't read it. That is why now they have to fix it at either in front or at the back, and at certain places, but which obviously will be captured by the device. And that is why I said now it is for the officers of NLTA, for police officers, to see to it that those motorcycles, they do abide by the law. That is, they affix it in a normal and legal way.